All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I have a brand new analysis for you. I want to go through and talk about the direct cost per Bitcoin for each one of the Bitcoin mining companies. I've put a chart together and I've put a schedule together, and I'm going to go through that. We're going to talk a lot about it. There's a lot of information to go through. We talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners all the time on this channel. If that's content you're interested in, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could please smash the like button, it helps the channel out a lot and it gets this video out to more people. This was a super highly requested report, and I have been hesitant to put it together because it's very, very confusing information, and I will talk you through what I mean by that. And I've tried to calculate direct mining costs, excluding depreciation and other non-cash items. So this is the actual real cost. This is the crypto winter cost. What does it cost one of these companies to mine a Bitcoin? So without further ado, let's go through and look at the cost per Bitcoin for each of the mining companies. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is say all of these companies, Argo Blockchain, Iris, Mawson, DigiHost, and Stronghold. For these 5 companies, although they did mine Bitcoin, their financial statement presentation does not allow to figure out what their direct costs were. Some of these companies are not US companies, and so the reporting requirements are different. So they really don't even have Q1 financial statements. They just report selected financial information from the first quarter. Others don't separate their direct costs from their indirect costs. So for various reasons, it was really not possible to put a number together for these companies. So I'm hoping that the information with all of these Bitcoin miners gets a little more uniform, because I will tell you, if there's 20 publicly traded Bitcoin companies, all 20 of them have some pretty majorly different ways that they report on their financial statements. So I'm hoping that over time that gets a little more uniform. Now, all these companies are not identical, so they don't have the identical business. Some of them have other streams of revenue, but I'd like to see a little more detail on the segment by segment so that we could get to the bottom of these numbers, because essentially, even though there's other lines of revenue, these companies are Bitcoin miners first, and I think it's an important number to know. What is the cash cost, not including depreciation? These companies do disclose that number, but I'm going to give you a specific example of why the number they disclose doesn't really agree to their financial statements. And that doesn't mean that either one of them is wrong. What I think is happening is they are disclosing the energy cost, but there are other direct costs that are cash costs. I'm going to use BitDigital as an example, but I'm not picking on them. Almost all the companies are in a similar situation. This is BitDigital's investor presentation, and this was updated in May, so this is very current. So you're going to see this right here where it says $7,771 per Bitcoin is their production cost. So they are disclosing that in their investor presentation. So you would think you would go to the financial statements and that's the math. That's how it would work out. But it doesn't work out that way. And again, I do believe that it's because this is a representation of their energy cost, but there are several other costs. And quite honestly, these companies have not done, in my mind, a very good job of specifying what these costs are. Given the fact that you're going to see the difference in these numbers are quite significant, I would like to know what these other costs are. How much of this is daily maintenance? How much of this is hosting fees? What are these other costs that are such a big part of your direct costs? So I will tell you, when we get to the chart, you're going to see their actual direct cost per their financial statements is actually about triple this number. So again, this is not financial information. Please take this for whatever it's worth. This is my first round of doing this. And I do think that next quarter's financial statements are going to provide a lot more accurate information. And I think every quarter after that, this information is going to get better and better and better. But for now, these are the numbers that we were provided. So I am going to show you what their direct costs, excluding depreciation, because that is a non-cash item. So in other words, in a crypto winter, the depreciation doesn't matter. They don't have to spend that on a monthly basis. This is how much cash do they have to come out of pocket to mine a Bitcoin. Bitcoin mined in Q1 of 2022. In other words, that is the period ended March 31st, 2022. So these 3 months, and again, these numbers I got from each one of their operational updates on a month-by-month basis. So this is the total of these. A lot of these were confirmed in the quarterly report. Sometimes there was a discrepancy of 2 or 3 or 4 Bitcoin if you added up the month-by-month versus what they reported in their quarterly report. So that is insignificant. So this is a simple calculation. Here's how many Bitcoin each one of these companies mined. And here is their cost of sales per their financial statements. And again, this does not include depreciation. This is their direct cost of sales, not including depreciation. So the company does have other costs in addition to this. They have other cash costs in the form of overhead. So what does it take to mine a Bitcoin? So again, these numbers will trace back to the financial statements. However, a lot of these will not trace directly back to the financial statements. I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get to this cost just based on the way that these were presented. Sometimes they were presented in a combination of other numbers, and then I had to go through the footnotes and through depreciation schedules and statement of cash flows to pull things out and try to get to the right number. So this is my absolute best estimate at what their direct cost of sales is. Again, this is not financial advice, so this is my first shot at this. I will do this quarter by quarter and compare because I think a few of these companies, the results don't really make sense for this first quarter. Okay, so now for real, let's get to the chart. Okay, so for the 9 companies that reported and gave enough information for me to put this together in a way that I was comfortable with, here are the results. So you'll see Marathon and Bitfarms are in first and second, and they're fairly close, and they're significantly lower than everybody else's cost. So Marathon comes in first place at 10,180. Now again, these numbers are probably going to change because Marathon, all the Bitcoin that they mine in the third quarter of 2022 will be mined in a different location from different machines than what happened in the first quarter of 2022, which is what's reporting here. So you would think hopefully their situation will improve, but again, we'll get financial statements in August. So sometime hopefully by the end of August, I'll be able to update this and we'll see how they compare quarter to quarter. Bitfarms came in second place at $10,630. Cleanspark and Riot were almost the same at $13,490 and $13,590, so very similar. Then you've got Gree, and this is just about in the middle. They're at about $15,073. Now again, if you ask these companies or you look in their presentations, they're going to have numbers that are much less than this. So this is all the information per their financial statements filed with the SEC. So I cannot explain the discrepancies. Remember, we looked at Bit Digital, and in their investor package, they said they were $7,771 per Bitcoin. But if you look at their financial statements for the first quarter, this is Bit Digital in last place at $22,634. So they're not providing enough information to reconcile those two numbers. So what I tend to do is fall to the actual financial statements themselves. That is financial information that they file with the SEC. That is audited annually, so these quarterlies are unaudited, but the results on an annual basis are audited. To me, that's the most accurate information that we can get. The other thing I'm hoping is right now there's only 9 of these companies where I can even get to the bottom of this and figure out what the number is. I would like the rest of these companies, I am hopeful that they continue to improve their financial reporting and start to present these in a way where we can figure out this cost and it's not buried inside layers of other costs. Okay, so you'll see next is Hut with 19,410. Then is Core Scientific with 21,478. Then Hive with 21,546. I'm just going to point out with Hive, this quarter was a giant deviation from previous quarters. Their number was closer to $10,000 for the 3 quarters that preceded this, each one of those 3 quarters. So for whatever reason, their direct cost per Bitcoin much more than doubled in this quarter. So I would like to wait until the next quarter comes out to see if this is an anomaly. I could not get to the bottom of why that would have changed so drastically. Nothing has changed in their operations that would dictate that. So again, I'd like to see next quarter's financial information from them and see if this drops back down into the $10,000 range or if this $20,000 or $21,000 is their new normal. I guess my biggest takeaway from this is you'll see these numbers vary drastically. Some of these numbers are more than double. So the first place is 10,180. Last place is 22,634. That's much more than double the cost per Bitcoin. So, hopefully we are moving out of this bear market, but as we sit here with Bitcoin fluctuating over the last month or month and a half between, 17,500 and 24,000. This direct cost is extremely relevant. So these are the numbers. I've shown you where I got my data from. I showed you my methodology on how I did this. So again, please remember, this is not financial advice. I am trying to put these pieces of the puzzle together, but even I'm uncomfortable just based on how difficult it was to extract these from the financial statements. So I'm hoping this gets easier and easier. I'm hoping the reporting gets better and better. And lastly, I would like to see all of these numbers come down. I really expected prior to going into this, most of these companies are representing that they have a cost between $7,000 and $10,000. So when I look at the financial statements and see that these costs per the financial statements are significantly more than that in certain circumstances. So I'd love a reconciliation between those two. I'd also like to see if maybe those costs have come down dramatically in the second quarter. So the numbers they're giving us now more reflect second quarter's activity versus the first quarter's activity. So I don't know the answer to those. Please take these with a grain of salt. But this has been highly requested, so I wanted to pull all this information together and present it to you. So to the best of my ability, this is what it looks like to me based on their financial statements, what the direct cash cost is to mine a Bitcoin for each one of these companies in the first quarter of 2022. So drop a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do these results surprise you? Do you trust these results, or do you think they don't make sense? I'd love your feedback to know what everybody's first knee-jerk reaction is when they see these numbers. Is this what you were expecting, or is this a surprise? So let me know. And again, I'm definitely going to update this again next quarter, and hopefully we'll get some more meaningful information. That's all I got for you on this one. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, please, if you've made it this far, subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. And thanks again, and I will see you in the next video.